Welcome back to another episode of the Sales Gravy Podcast. I'm here with Clare Dorrian. Did I say that right?
You did.
Perfect.
You sure did.
Clare is the CMO of SugarCRM, one of my favorite CRM platforms. And we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about what it means to be a CMO and working with a sales organization, especially a global sales organization, and how sales and marketing today are forced to work together in tandem in order to generate leads, generate sales, and build pipeline. Before we get started, I want you to go check out Sales Gravy University. Sales Gravy University is where companies around the globe come to learn the skill of selling. And you can take your very first course free at Sales Gravy University. Just go to learn.salesgravy.com. That's learn.salesgravy.com and use the code FREECOURSE. So we're here at your SKO in Atlanta, Georgia. You got people from all over the globe, like 200 people who have come from the cities from everywhere. It's the very first time you've been together in 3 years. And you hired me to MC this event, which is just, I don't know what anybody would hire me to MC anything. I'm known to have early onset dementia, so I'm probably going to forget all your bullet points.
Well, you're going to be in good company because this is a sales conference.
That's right. But I feel grateful to be here. The joy that I can see in everybody's face of getting your team together for the first time after the 3 years of being away. You can just feel the energy.
You really can. I think it's, expectations are high. I think, for us, luckily enough, the content matters, but I think it's the relationship piece and getting to meet all these faces that we've seen in sort of 10-inch square Zoom sessions, right? It's been already, we haven't even kicked off yet, and to see everybody's faces, getting to know one another, because at the end of the day, we're in the relationship business, right? Both in marketing and sales, and ironically, in the market that we operate in, it's in the title, CRM. So it matters, and it's long overdue. It's long overdue.
So one of the things I love about SugarCRM is your insane focus on the customer. So they're from top to bottom, there's this drive to provide a level of customer experience and customer service that frankly a lot of companies in the space just don't. There's a form someplace that you can fill out and maybe someone will talk to you. Tell me how a focus on human relationships, especially in a world where tech seems to be pushing us further and further away from that, how that is a differentiating factor for your organization and how you use it from a marketing standpoint to generate more leads and get in more doors.
So, the CRM market has been around for 2 decades. And let's face it, it has a really bad reputation. And at the end of the day, you can only be as successful with technology if you have the right people to know what it is that technology is designed to do, but know where the boundaries of that technology live. So that's the first thing. And I think in a market where, as any vendor, you're looking for points of differentiation, we operate in a market with Goliaths. And what we have to our advantage is we're not a Goliath, so we can be nimble, we can care more, we can give access to our people in a way that a Goliath can't. And so very early on in our journey, pre-me, our founder, Clint Oram, our chief strategy officer, he very quickly glommed onto the idea that, our people make a difference and can make a difference in the market that we operate in. And so from top down, bottom up, it's ingrained from the way that we recruit to the way that we collaborate. And I think that shows, right? And from a marketing perspective, there's nothing I love more than to use to our advantage how customers feel about the level of service that they get, the engagement that they get with the people, not just Sugars, but the extended community of Sugars, our partners, our ISVs, our resellers. And so, for us, it's a really important differentiator in our marketing and go-to-market, but it's also an important DNA of our culture. And I think it's when those two things collide that's when we're fortunate enough to be in the position where competitors sort of look at us and go, oh, because they can't be as nimble and they can't afford to give access in a way that we can to executive, for example, in a sales cycle.
Yeah. Well, I think that when it comes to customer experience, like this decision that you're going to be there for your customer.
Totally.
Like I work with companies across the spectrum of industries who do that. I work with other companies that don't, but the companies that do that, it is ingrained in their DNA. it's not a customer's always right mentality. No. It's a customer's always first mentality. And there's a big difference in that. And I think the same thing extends to sales professionals as well, is helping sales professionals understand that it's a prospect, not a customer yet, but that prospect's emotional experience with you as they go through their journey and your journey is a more consistent predictor of outcome of any other variable.
1000%. And you ask, and we've all been on the receiving end of one sales pitch or another, right, in our lifetime. Which are the ones that you remember? Right? The ones where the people that you were engaged with had an emotional connection with you. Yes, the price had to be right. Yes, the product had to fit and meet with your requirements. But the differentiation was when the moment was memorable, when the experience was memorable, and that we're in the business of that. And so if we can't practice what we preach, we're in trouble.
Very good. I love it. Is that memory. That's one of the things I believe about customer experience is that it's making it easy and pleasurable for people to do business with you, and both of those things are memorable. And those memories are cumulative. Like every experience, every time they touch somebody in your organization, those things add up, and that's what creates customer loyalty and long-term retention. And of course, as a CRM organization with multiple facets, it's the ability to expand through the organization and displace your competitors who have different silos in that company, like marketing or customer service or sales. So switching gears to this, the way that marketing and sales has really, the last 20 years have just been a complete evolution, a revolution really, that's probably a better way of saying that, of sales and marketing. Today we're more connected at the hip than any time prior. And people are always surprised when I explain that the position in the organization that hires my company, Sales Gravy, to come in and deliver training more often than any other executive position is the CMO.
What does that say about us then, Jeff?
Well, what it is that the CMOs are so responsible, have so much pressure to create inbound leads that build pipe, that you're being measured against what the sales organization does with the leads, and you have very little control over that. So the CMOs who recognize how much money they're spending on bringing the leads in or creating that opportunity at those open doors, there's this realization that if you're not tied directly to the sales organization and driving their activity, then it's going to impact your ability to deliver on your goals. And likewise, if they're not directly tied to you and giving you feedback on what you're doing, they're not going to be able to achieve their goals.
We talk a lot at Sugar about one team, one mission. And at the end of the day, we are in it together. There are some organizations who load the marketing team up with, you are 100% responsible for pipe. We're not one of them. Why? Because it's a team sport. And so, yes, I have, and my team has a demand generation goal that we work to, but so does sales, and so do our partners. And I think, when you are aligned in a way that starts with your goals and your KPIs, and you stack up the programs and the initiatives underneath that everybody understands, that everybody is supportive of, that's how you get the partnership. You just got to stop lobbing stuff, Mark. Anybody out there in marketing that's lobbing stuff over the fence to their sales friends, you're not really setting yourself up for success. So
it's really that analogy of the rowboat, everybody rowing in the same direction. There was a study done, and I think it was at Stanford University, but these scientists got, like crews, rowboats, and they got a computer, a robot, basically to row both boats, and they put one just a little bit, like you can't even tell, out of synchronicity with all the rowers rowing together, and that boat was 8% slower than the boat that everybody was in synchronous together. But over the course of a race, over the long haul, the other boat fell behind way further than 8%. So you're exactly right. Getting everybody working together, which is tough in a modern organization because it's so easy when things aren't going well to go, it's everybody's fault but mine.
And also I think it got a lot tougher the last few years, right? When we're all so much more distributed than we have ever been. And I say that intentionally because I think sales as an organization, you guys have been used to being on the road. In and out of customer site, having to deal with your forecast and figure out, I need to send out that communication to that customer or that prospect, while you're on the go. Certain marketing functions less so. And so I think, what the last couple of years have taught us as a marketing team, and I think as a marketing discipline, is an understanding that there was a level playing field for us all because we were all at home, our kitchen was our office, you know, unfortunately for me, because it was under construction at the time. And so I think there was a level playing field like we've never had before, and I think, you know, certain organizations took advantage of that.
So let me throw something out. You may have a different opinion on this, but I feel like what happened starting in 2020 was 2020, 2021 primarily showed us the limitation of inbound lead gen. So the organizations were bumping into the wall, so our phones began ringing off the hook. We've always been known for fanatical prospecting. We kind of own that space, but we were getting just inundated by calls. We were working at a pace that, frankly, at the end of 2021, there was nothing left in me. But it was because organizations were realizing that there was just only so much they could do. And by the way, with people working at home, they weren't responding to a lot of the traditional ways that we would pull them in. And I'm curious about what your experience was with that, and how you as the CMO led your organization to make any adjustments during that period of time.
So I mean, in any marketing role, I think, you know, one of the critical success factors is you are able to pivot regardless. But I don't think there's ever been quite the pivot like there was in 2020. And, you know, for us, it was about going back to basics. You know, where are our customers engaging with us now, and what can we dial up? And surprise, surprise. And how do they want to hear from us now that circumstances have changed? So we did a bit of listening. You know, we did a bit of a listening tour. And I think, like many, we found that while digital became even more important by way of communication vehicle, it very quickly became saturated. And so what we tried to avoid doing, which is what I think some people unfortunately didn't, was we didn't accelerate digital to the degree where we forgot about everything else. And because I've seen and watched peers have to ratchet that back very quickly since. So yes, we dialed up the likes of webinars. Yes, unfortunately, events like this had to go virtual, but you make it work. Customer events went virtual. That was a strange thing. Social became more important to us as well as a brand. But I can't tell you how happy I am that in-person is back. And I can't tell you how happy I think the team is to know that, you know, for a company that's in the relationship business, that we're able to get back to some fundamentals and rebuild that, emphasize that human connection that matters.
Perfect.
For the purchase cycle.
So for sales professionals in your organization, how important is it for you that they are contributing to pipeline building with their own organic outreach?
Hugely. So I don't mind sharing. This was one of our new endeavors during the pandemic. We introduced our very own team sport that we call Shark Week.
I love Shark Week.
And that was an intentional effort to bring together the various constituent parties, marketing, business development, sales, our partners even, together, united, focused on driving pipeline together. We put them in teams, we pitted them against one another, we had prizes throughout the day, we had prizes at the end of the week, we had top team prizes, individual prizes, because, you know, salespeople like to win. And it really has been transformational in introducing a DNA into our culture for outbound prospecting that we just did not have. We talked about it, but I think if I was honest with myself, we talked a good game. And it was only when we introduced a fun, competitive team approach to prospecting where everybody had skin in the game, have we really started to see material difference in the results.
Now this is important, and I think it's important for leaders everywhere to get. We talk about outbound prospecting, very much like we talk about putting stuff into the CRM. Like we talk about CRM till we're blue in the face, and then you look at the CRM and it's a disaster.
Yeah.
And so your people aren't doing it. And the same thing with outbound prospecting. We started this podcast talking about how we put human beings first, people first. That's part of the culture, part of the DNA. I believe the same thing for outbound prospecting effort, where the entire team owns and understands the value of every day, you're on the street, you're working opportunities, you're building pipe, you're getting into places where marketing can't get into.
Totally.
You're the ground force, and everything that marketing provides you, every lead that comes in is total gravy, sales gravy. So,
funny that.
But that's gravy, and if you see it that way, it works. But you have to build the culture. It is not going to build itself.
Totally, and that's why we started with the introduction of Shark Week. You know, it was an idea that, you know, I'm super proud of one of our business development managers that he had, and it's been lovely to watch it blossom and grow over just 12 months. And, you know, for a mid-market business, it's accounted for $2 million in revenue.
That's amazing.
And it's cost us $60,000 in prize funds. I mean, the return is phenomenal. And the intention was exactly as you described. We needed to get our engine moving in the right gear together, and we needed to be working together to the same goal. And we didn't do it every day, you know, because prospecting is hard. Outbound prospecting, as you know, it's real hard. And so we started out, we did it every other month, and then towards the back end of the year, we're now doing it every month. And so now everybody knows the calendar, how the calendar looks for Shark Weeks for this year, and what our expectations are. And yeah, it's been a good rally call as well, I would say, for the business. Don't get me wrong, there are still some things that we're looking to tweak, and we have a session on that tomorrow here at our event. To get some input and some feedback, because that's also key.
Yes.
You know, listening is really important, you know, in any marketing or sales discipline, but particularly when it comes to outbound prospecting.
And one of the beautiful things about a Shark Week, and pay attention, Sales Gravy sales and training team, Shark Week is coming to office near you very soon. The minute you told me Shark Week, I was like, I'm all over this. But you should also think about, if you're thinking about this as an organization, when you have everybody in your company running Shark Week, like in our company, our receptionist, Trisha, and she's more than a receptionist, she's billing and she's customer experience and customer service, but she sits at our front door. So she sold over $100,000 last year. So when you get everybody in your organization that's thinking, build the pipe, build the pipe, build the pipe, it puts a lot of pressure on your competitors, because suddenly their phones are ringing, because you're calling, you're asking questions, they're picking up the phone, calling their competitor. So now all of a sudden your competitors have to go run to work their accounts, save their business, hold on to their, but that opens the door for you to eat their lunch in other places. And I've watched this happen in so many markets I've worked in, is you put pressure on your competitor, and then you go around the back door and you take their business. And you are, you in particular in a competitive displacement sale, usually in your deal, somebody loses if you win. So so getting a mass prospecting big time for competitors. Last question.
Yes.
So you're a CMO, and you're talking to an audience of B2B sales professionals all across the world.
I am.
What's your best, from your heart, advice for modern sales professionals in this market, what they should be doing to make themselves successful and do the right thing for their company and grow their careers?
That's a hard question for somebody who works in marketing and who's never worked in sales. So first thing, I would never pretend to know how hard sales is, right? And so my advice comes from the place of the customer, to be honest with you. And that is, at the end of the day, nobody likes being sold to. Nobody. So I think, your responsibility as a seller is to find a challenge, find a pain point that you can help solve, and be that hero to that customer. Conversations that start with pricing or arrogance about I can help you when you don't understand the business problem, I think you've got to put that to one. You've got to put that ego to one side, salespeople, and you've got to really identify where that pain point is and demonstrate clearly to that prospect or to that customer how you can help them. I think when it comes to engaging your customer or potential customer, you got to think multi-channel, and multi-layer and multi-channel. And by multi-layer, I mean, decision-making committees, they're getting bigger every day. So just because you've won over the CEO, the CFO, whoever it is that you target, don't think that that's the deal. The deal is yours, right? There's a group of people that particular individual is listening to. Make sure you're touching them too.
Yes.
And make sure when you do touch them and you do engage with them, that you're doing it in a way that is meaningful for them. Meet them where they are. Ask them, do you like email? I mean, it's like such a basic question that so often is overlooked. I think in any relationship, not just a seller to a prospect or to a customer, but to their marketing team. How should we be communicating? How do you respond best? So I would encourage sales to think decision maker plus influencer and think about how you communicate and meet that group where they are. I think they're probably my two best pieces of advice. Don't sell. Find a pain point that you can speak to confidently with a customer that's been on that journey before. And speak to decision maker. Don't overlook the influencer because there's plenty of them. And meet them where they are.
Wonderful. Clare Dorrian, CMO, SugarCRM. And if you're sick of your CRM not meeting you where you are, go check out Sugar. It's a fantastic CRM, awesome people. You won't be sorry. Get a demo, at least take a look at it. And make sure that you go check out Sales Gravy University. Go to learn.salesgravy.com, learn.salesgravy.com. Take your very first course for free, any course you want, using the code FREECOURSE. We'll see you next time on the Sales Gravy Podcast.